Okay. So, um, this is going to be a world that I'm making. I did not spell that right. I also probably didn't spell that right, but it's fine. Um, so this is going to be a series where I just yap. Like that's literally all it's going to be. Um, but um, I have not played a video game in a little over um, a month now. Um, and it's not really for any other reason other than I haven't been feeling up to it. And the reasoning behind that, oh, leaf litter. I forgot that's a thing now. No, it's probably been closer to 2 months that I haven't played any kind of video game at all. But I thought that I would just come on here and talk as kind of like a journal that I can then use to kind of just anybody going through the same kind of thing as me can relate to and maybe find comfort in. I don't know. Mic a little closer. But yeah, so about a month and a half ago, probably coming up on 2 months now. I don't know. I've kind of stopped keeping track. My girlfriend left me. She's now my ex. And she claimed that it was because I just didn't give her enough time and didn't give her enough attention, which, I mean, is understandable if that was actually the reason, but there was plenty of evidence that stated otherwise. For example, she moved on in a week. Um, even though she said she promised me that there was nobody else. Like I asked her flat out, I said, "Is there somebody else?" And she said no. Um, so either she lied or yeah, that's really the only thing I can think about. Um, but I haven't really. I don't know. I'm at a point now where I could be upset about it, but I'm just not. I'm choosing not to be. It does hurt though, because I was very against kids and marriage and everything until I met her. But you know, I think that people are right that things happen for a reason, and that if those quote unquote reasons don't stay, then it was never a reason in the first place. Um, but she had such an impact on me, and her leaving really messed me up. And I was like, wow, I'm just gonna better myself in any way possible to try and get her back. Turns out that by the time that I had started, you know, not touching a game or actually trying to better myself at all, she had already moved on. She was already talking to somebody else. I know who that is, so I'm not gonna, obviously I'm not gonna say her name or say his name. Because at the end of the day, it's not gonna change anything. Oh, that's rare, isn't it? Mangrove, like right next to it, next to spawn. Huh. But there's not really anything I can do about it. Like I could dwell on it, I could be really upset about it, which of course I am. But I don't think I deserve that kind of disrespect, if I'm being completely honest. Because I never really like I never abused her. I didn't cheat on her. I didn't do anything like that. But I'm pretty sure that she had been talking to him prior to, and then had planned to get with him after we broke up. But you know, life goes on. I don't think that I would. I mean, she could have. I could have been upset that she moved on at all, but that's not fair, really. I can't be upset with somebody for continuing life. I mean, I'm doing that. It might not be to the same extent that she is, I'm taking it a lot harder than she has. Because she kind of threw away that year and a half that we were together like it was nothing. Um, but no, I would fight with like my parents and everything because she wanted time, and I would fight to give her that. Like I really would. I would do everything in my power to make sure that I was able to spend what little time that I had with her. Um, I think the part that hurts so badly about all of it is that 2 weeks before she told me that I was the person that she wanted to marry. I told her I want to marry you, and she said, "Oh, I want to marry you too," or something along those lines. She said, "Good." When I said that, she didn't like outright say, "Oh, I want to marry you too." She said, "Good." She was like, "I'm glad." And then she kissed me, and it was a great moment. But obviously, that didn't last very long. Um, she didn't really stay after that. Because we got into a fight right before I went on my senior trip because I graduated last year. Whoop whoop. But yeah, I graduated, and she was like, "Oh, we're high school sweethearts now," and I was like, "Yeah, we are." I was like, "It's awesome." And I was like, we were talking about like our future and like getting an apartment together, and furthering our lives with one another. Um, but yeah, and then like later she left, and I could have been a better boyfriend. I'm not putting all this on her. Like I absolutely could have done certain things better. Um, but I think overall she was, I don't know. I don't want to put blame on anybody because in reality we're two kids at the end of the day. Like even if we're both 18, we're both kids who are still learning how to love somebody and care about somebody in that kind of way. Um, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that there's nothing wrong with not necessarily knowing how to properly love somebody. Um, because everything, you have to learn how to do that before you can do it. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with not necessarily knowing how. But we got into an argument about a week before, actually, it was the night before I left for Ireland for my senior trip. It was a lot of fun. I had a good time. But she was like, if I don't see improvement, she was like, I'm going to leave. And I was like, okay, I got it. And then I really tried. I was trying. And when I got back, I did kind of get more involved into video games again. But I was still better than I was before I left. I was still improving. Like, overall, I was being a better person. I was being a better boyfriend. I had bought her this really nice $500, though the price doesn't matter, but it was rose gold with a blue diamond in the middle, and it was beautiful. It fit her perfectly. And I gave it to her, and I left a note on, because I left it on her porch, and it said, "This is yours. It was meant for you. I don't want it." And then people went behind my back and texted her about it and was like, yeah, you feel bad. So about a month and a half later, this is about a week ago now, her brother came and dropped it off. And my stepdad was the one that opened the door. And then I got threatening texts saying, "Oh, if you do anything else or post anything else," because I was posting stuff on TikTok and social media platforms about the breakup, which is immature. I will be the first to say that. I'm not the first to say that because she had said it to me. She unblocked me because I was blocked on everything and told me that. But I was immature. I'm not gonna lie to you. And maybe this is immature, but ultimately, I think that this is a good way to cope. Because you guys don't know who I am. Like, you don't know anything about me personally. There's nothing wrong with that, I don't think. I think that everything that what am I doing? But I think that every, like, thought that I have is not going to be shared to her. I don't even know if she has my YouTube channel. She might. I don't know. But she, but I was acting immaturely. But I think that it's what I needed at that time. And I think that it is the only reason that I am not still here, because that's insane to say. I think it's the only reason that I've been able to progress as quickly as I have. And I'm still not, I don't think I'm ready to like talk to anybody yet. As far as like talking to somebody else goes, or starting to date somebody else. Even though my friend has been trying to convince me that it's a good idea to talk to one of her friends and possibly start something there, but I don't know. I don't really have any interest in it, if I'm being completely honest. Like, her friend is a very attractive person. I'm not gonna lie and say that she's not. But I don't think I'm ready for that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that at the end of the day. Maybe that's not true. Maybe there's something wrong with that, and I should be more ready to move on, but I'm just not. I just don't think that I need to rush it. I think that if I have any kind of thing that I feel like I need to take more time on, I should take more time on it. And like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But no, there's a lot of things that I could have done better. But I really did love that girl. I could have loved her better, but I couldn't have loved her more, you know? And I need to remember as I'm figuring out how to like navigate this whole thing, because I really did want to marry her. I did want to live the rest of my life with her. That healing's not linear. I'm not going to just be able to move on. And the fact that she was able to should be proof enough for me that she didn't really care as much as she said she did. She might have cared, but not as much as she said she did, you know? Because if she did, she would have at least, you know, given it more time before just moving on to another person entirely. And the fact that she didn't is just, to me, disrespectful. And maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know. But that's how I view it now. Like, I don't think that she's like an inherently bad person. I don't think that she's necessarily a bad person at all, but there's something about the fact that she was just able to move on from everything that we had built for so long, and how much love that we had for one another. Because even if she doesn't love me now, she did love me at one point, and I did love her. I do still love her. I think a part of me does, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting, or like building something for so long and then not being okay losing it just like that. But I've been trying to surround myself with people, like friends and stuff, but that only goes so far, you know, because at the end of the day, I still miss being held and told I love you and all that, because it was such a big part of my life for so long. For a year and a half, it was a huge part. It was like the part of my life that I looked forward to every day. And even if it did take me a long time to respond, it was the greatest part of my day, was to look at my phone and see a notification from her saying I miss you or I love you. Even if I was bad at showing it. Because like I said, she really did mean a lot to me. And there's nothing wrong with feeling upset or sad that that's gone now, because it was such a big part of my life. And it's honestly, I think it always will be, at least a little bit, you know? Like, I don't think I'm ever not going to just wish that something could have turned out differently, or not even necessarily turned out differently, just I don't know. I don't really know. if I'm being completely honest. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I really don't. My mom thinks that one of the main reasons that I'm taking it so hard is because when my dad died, she was there and she helped me get through it. She really did. That's how we connected, was she had been the person to help me through my dad's passing. And it was just something that I, at the time, was so thankful for. And I genuinely don't think I would have been able to get through it as well as I did had she not been there for me. Another thing I think it is I lost a friend that I'd had for a long time, because me and her were friends since middle school. Like, we had been very close friends. And like I said, there's nothing like wrong with that, being upset about losing somebody. And if there is something wrong with that, then I'm not a good person. But there's just so much, like, that she helped me through, and I do think that I'm a better person because of her. Maybe it's only minorly, maybe it's major, I don't know. But I don't think that there's anything really wrong with really just like not being okay. And I know I'm rambling a lot. That's kind of the point of this. It's more of like a journal. But I don't know. At the end of the day, I will be okay. And I know that because this isn't the first time that I've been emotionally hurt from something like this. But I don't know, this one hits different. It was the longest relationship that I've ever been in. And I truly did want something with this person. Like the other relationships that I had, might have said like, oh yeah, I want a future with you. I never actually meant it, you know, which is awful. But I was, you know, a freshman, and I was a freshman in high school, or a sophomore in high school, and now I was actually going into the adult world, having that kind of connection with somebody to where I could actually see myself living with them and starting a real life with them. But I just didn't. And letting that go after planning it and having such a clear outlook on like what the rest of your life is going to look like is a very hard thing to let go of. Because your whole life you're told, you know, you need to have at least somewhat of a grasp on like what you want out of life. And when I finally felt like I had a purpose, which was to love another person, and once that purpose was kind of ripped away from me, I really just didn't know what to do. Like I stopped eating. I lost about 30 pounds. I unplugged my computer, which was the thing that had brought me joy for a very long time and had been a big source of entertainment for me. And not even just entertainment, but like something that I could do and have a lot of fun on. I was like kind of repulsed to even touch. And I don't think that that's okay. I think that I shouldn't have to go cold turkey. And if that's what I had to do to, you know, get into better habits, then so be it. But, you know, I feel like I shouldn't have gotten to that point in the first place. I'm very wishy-washy on this topic just because I don't know, I have so many different thoughts that I have in reality. And while I might tell my friends, you know, oh yeah, man, I can't believe she just moved on. You know, like she's so like inconsiderate and disrespectful for doing that. When in reality, I didn't really like. My viewing on it isn't just that black and white. You know, like I have plenty of other parts to that view. That's like, yeah, well, maybe I am upset because I didn't deserve the level of disrespect that I was given towards the end of the relationship. I'm still upset because I did love her. Like, I really did. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being upset that I lost somebody who was so important to me for so long, and honestly still is, if I'm being completely honest. And while I'm a very vain person when it comes to, you know, like, oh yeah, this guy is not better than me, you know, like he's not like I'm better looking or whatever the case might be. Like it's all just coping, and I'm proud to say that I am going to start therapy for it soon. Impulse control, grief control, and just everything, just bettering my capability of handling things like this. Because I never really learned. It was never something that I had to learn, thankfully. I grew up lucky and never had to really go through anything like that up until I was 16 and my dad passed away. And at that point, I didn't know what to do, and luckily she was there. And that helped me through a lot of it. Yeah. And maybe that's not a good way to look at it. Maybe it's... I should look at it some other kind of way, but... I don't know. I feel like there's definitely something to be said for it. I'm not sure. But... I don't think that there's... The hard part is that it's hard to defend her when there was literally no reason for her to do the things that she did post breakup. Like I was given no closure. It was done over the phone. Of that phone call, by the way, I was calling her to tell her how much I missed her and if she wanted to hang out. The following day, that was a Friday. I asked her if I wanted to hang out, and I was joking with her, and I was like, "Oh, you're cheating on me, ha ha ha." And she was not having it that night, which most of the time she would, you know, be like, "Oh, don't joke about like that kind of thing." And I'm like, "I know, I'm kidding, babe. Of course I am. You know that." And she was like, "I know." She's like, "I'm not really upset with you." She was like, I don't really mind," or whatever the case might have been at that point in time. By that time she was a little more defensive of it than she usually was, which to me is some kind of telltale sign that I probably should have picked up on, but I don't know. Maybe that's just my brain trying to cope with the fact that, you know, I did something wrong, because I did do plenty wrong. I was not the best boyfriend. I was not even necessarily, I wouldn't even say that I was like a good boyfriend at all. But I wasn't the worst. I certainly wasn't the worst. I never used her for her body or anything like that. I always gave her the love that I was taught to give somebody that I cared about, which I did, and I never didn't do that. And I think that that's, at the end of the day, what I should look at as something that I did, rather than all of the things that I didn't do. And while I should take into consideration the fact that, you know, I did do things that were wrong in the relationship, and that there were things that I could have been better with, there are still things, and I can't be too hard on myself when I'm... I don't know, this is such a weird thing to talk about. It's so weird because there's so many different things and like outliers and situations that make this different, you know? Like, I don't know. I am all over the place when it comes to this because my mind is just all over the place. I think like about how she impacted me and how I'm not going to be able to find something like that again without a lot of struggle. But I'm also... It's so weird. I just don't know what to... I don't know. I'm also kind of hoping that me playing a game while I'm talking will let me slip up and I will say what I'm really thinking, like even subconsciously, like things that I don't even think that I'm thinking, you know? Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll just be a waste of time, but who knows? But, yeah. I don't know. You know, they never tell you something that people don't tell you about, like losing somebody that you love, or And maybe I didn't love her. You know, maybe I just wanted to. But something that they never tell you about that kind of thing is like how weird it is to adjust to not having them in your life anymore. Because like at one point, I texted her every day, and albeit I was very slow at responding, it was still something that I did all the time. Every day for a year and a half, I was texting somebody, and that person was giving me love, affection, care, time. And going from having that to not having that so quickly in such a short span of time is such a weird and liminal thing. Like, because you think, oh, well, yeah, it's going to be weird, but it actually happening is completely different than people saying like, oh yeah, you miss this person a lot. Like I miss them. I miss hearing them talk about work. Like those are the things that I thought I'd never miss. If it came down to it, was like her talking about, you know, her job or how annoying her coworkers were. But you know, I would listen still, and even though I didn't give the best responses because I'm bad when it comes to conversation. Like it's very difficult for me to listen to people. And it's not even like I'm waiting for my turn to talk. I just don't know what to say. Like I could analyze something all day and still not know what to say. Like that's an issue that I've always had. And that's why college is so hard, is because I just don't know what to say for like some of my essays. But they don't tell you those kind of things. Like those are the things that you really miss. Like I as of late, I've just missed being told I love you and being able to say, hey, can I come over for a little bit today? And then being held and, you know, talked to and loved. It's because I don't have that anymore. And I have friends. I have some friends. I'm not gonna lie. I do have friends, and I know some people are unlucky enough to where their significant other was the only person that they had. And I do have other people. But it's kind of gotten to the point now where they don't. They're just tired of it. They're tired of hearing about the same thing over and over again, and how upset I am that it's over, and they just want me to move on and just be okay. And that's just not something I can do, because I loved that person. I wanted to be with that person. I wanted to spend the rest of my life with that person. Like, I truly did want to be with her and not be with anybody else, because I didn't need to be. As long as I had her, I didn't need to be with anybody else. I didn't need, you know, I didn't even need friends. I just needed her at that point in time. And well, some people say that's unhealthy, which I agree, honestly, if I'm being completely honest. It is unhealthy, because you should be, your whole support system shouldn't just rely on one person. It's not only not fair to you, but it's not fair to them. But another thing that I will say is that if anybody is going through the same kind of thing, and they're having thoughts of self-harm or anything like that, really, seek help, like professional help. And I know some people are going to be, I can handle my own problems. I don't need somebody else to tell me how to handle something. It's not even necessarily that you need somebody else to tell you how to do something. It's more like you can have a fresh perspective on an opportunity for you to handle it. Like, it's not necessarily a, oh, you have to do this to feel better, or oh, you need to be doing this. It's more of like a, have you thought about this? This is something that you could do. Like, and some friends are terrible therapists. I'm gonna come right out and say that. Some people will just tell you to be angry with the other person, but in reality, that's not how it should be. You cared about that person, and you shouldn't try to pretend that you didn't. Doing that just makes you start to lose your humanity with it, because beautiful part about relationships and love is that you were able to feel that with somebody, and you shouldn't just try and dismiss that just because, you know, you're upset that they aren't there anymore. They decided to leave. But you should appreciate the fact that you were able to love something like that, you know? Like you're like how lucky are you to be able to say I loved something and was able to yearn it when I was gone, when it was gone. Like I was able to mourn something. I loved something and something loved me so much to the point where I had to mourn it when it was gone. And I say it because it's not necessarily just relationships, it's anything. A cat, a dog, a shoe brand or shoe that you've had. I don't know. Those are all bad examples. I hope my point's getting across. Like you don't have to pretend that something wasn't important to you just to feel better about it. You can process it and be okay with it. Not necessarily even be okay with it, but you can process it and heal from it without dismissing it, you know? Like you don't have to just tell yourself, oh, I don't care. Because at the end of the day, you do care. What you had was a very serious thing, and it's okay to not be okay with it being over or gone or whatever the case might be. Like, there's really nothing wrong with that. I think that's something that a lot of people forget. Because that's gonna happen. You're gonna have times where you just want nothing more than for them to come back. And like even more now, most of the things that I have towards her is just acceptance or even most of the time anger. I'm not gonna lie. There were plenty of times where I just lay in bed trying to go to sleep and I'm just like, man, I really could just be held. Like you just use a hug or a kiss or an I love you right now. And there's nothing like wrong with that. Because I loved something. I loved someone to the point where it genuinely hurts to not be with them, you know? And that's okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think I'm gonna finish mining up this iron here and then I'm gonna get off and go to bed. But I think that the point of these videos is gonna be more just to document my journey through trying to cope. And I'm sure sometimes I'm gonna say things or do things or, you know, report on things that are completely illogical, irrational, or insensitive. But that's a part of it. Healing is not linear. You're going to have ups and downs. Like I'm going to go through times where I'm like really struggling. I'm gonna go through times where I'm completely okay. Like today is one of those middle ground days. Like I miss her a lot today. I miss being told I love you or being held, you know, but there's nothing I can do about it. It's over. And that's okay. But I'm also not like sobbing. Which was something that I was doing for a while. I was crying myself to sleep every single night for about a month, which to some people is pathetic. To me, it just means that I loved something or somebody to the extent to where when I lost them, I truly just couldn't do anything but cry. And I think that's a beautiful thing, if I'm being completely honest. But I don't know. All right, well, going to bed. I will see you guys tomorrow or 2 days from now or a week from now or whenever. Deuces.